Welcome to Stitch Panda Podcast, a podcast created to share insight, opinions, tips, and advice in the world of fashion, style, sewing, and creative business. I'm your host, Chelsea, fashion designer, and owner of faith-based women's boutique Vine & Brand Collective. Hello there, I'm Chelsea, and this is Stitch Panda Podcast. Today I'm testing my setup, sound, equipment, and I'll walk you through all the steps I took into creating this podcast. And our first look at our theme, genre, and general topics of what we're going to talk about weekly. Before we dive in, let me tell you about Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make and host a podcast. For example, the app allows you to record, edit, and publish all in one place. Anchor will also distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other listening services. You can also make money with no minimum listenership. And my favorite part is, it's free. Absolutely free. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So this is going to be a quick episode. I'm going to talk about my setup and then our first general topics of what the show is normally going to be about. I'm using the Anchor app. Anchor is one of the simplest ways to host and record and edit a podcast. So with that being said, I've downloaded the app, I set up and created my account, and then it walks you through and does a prompt of the specific things that you need to keep in mind, like having cover art and choosing a name. So it took me a few days, I'd say roughly about a week, to get the name and general logo and theme of what I wanted. Once I kind of got that concept, it kind of sped up from there. Then it tells you to go ahead and record a trailer. A trailer is kind of like a sneak peek into what the podcast is generally going to be about. As for my basic setup and equipment, I really just have my phone and the app. To start out, that's kind of all you need, especially if you're going through Anchor. If you're using other hosting platforms, you might need to invest in a few other things. I also have audio editing software because before I found out about Anchor, I was looking into a lot of different options. Anchor's app has editing tools, so that's kind of where we learn the basics from, and we're able to transfer that into Audacity and learn a lot quicker. So it was really helpful to start out with Anchor. I do not use a microphone on my cell phone when I'm using the Anchor app, but you can definitely connect an external microphone. I've even seen where the headset that comes with the phone, where there's earbuds and the cord has the microphone in it, that might be helpful as well. But I like how it records when I just lay out the phone. What I ended up doing is set up our recording area in my closet, because the clothes and extra things in here are sound deadening, so our sounds don't vibrate off of the walls, and this way there's not too much echo or a lot of that goes into the recording. I also went on Amazon and purchased a soundproof box, if you will. It's basically a foldable, and it looks like it could be made out of cardboard, but there's a fabric casing over it. But inside is all of this foam egg crate type material, something that you would probably use to soundproof a room. I place my phone in there and then record from that, so it kind of gives me more of a clean, crisp sound. Now, I didn't just start doing all of this on my own. I did learn a little from my fiance, Jonathan. He is the host of Jonathan's Coin Toss. If you haven't heard it, go ahead and check it out. He speaks about movies, video games, wrestling, sports, all types of pop culture references, and anything that's truly a favorite of his. He'll go ahead and discuss there, but it's really interesting, and from time to time, I'll be on there as well. So with him helping me, I was able to pick up the learning curve, and a lot of the equipment we already had here. But if you are just starting out, it's not that expensive. Of course, you'll already have your cell phone and the app, and all you would need is just a quiet space. And the soundproof box that we got, I'd say it was maybe about $20. So even if you wanted to go ahead and do that, if you don't have a closet or a room and you're going to be recording out in the open, at least invest in one of these boxes. It does help the sound quality. Now, moving into the general theme and genre of the podcast, my background is in fashion design and the business of fashion. I have my Bachelor of Fine Arts with emphasis in those majors. So that's something that I've pursued as a career. I do have somewhat, I wouldn't call myself an expert, so I wouldn't say expertise, but I do have some familiarity, some background in the topic to consider myself someone that, is knowledgeable. Now, anybody can look online or go to a store and, see what's trending, so I don't particularly think it has to be someone with professional expertise, but I like to keep it at a level of, 50-50. I take the things that I've been taught in the world and then my insight as an individual along with friends and family members, and that's kind of what the show is going to be about. I'll go ahead and sit and interview with local people that I know, a few fashion designers, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, things like that. So there's a lot of sewing knowledge, there's a lot of technical knowledge that'll go into it, there's a lot of trending and forecasting that goes into it, there's a lot of small business setup. So even if you're not 100% into the fashion world, you can still get tidbits here and there of either things to use personally or things to use if you are building a small business. And I hope you just come to enjoy our chats. Anchor also has a unique feature where there's voice messages. So at the end of a podcast, or probably even throughout the duration of a podcast, if you like something, you can go ahead and record a comment or a question and send it straight into me so then I can see those. And this is something that I may incorporate as a question and answers down the line in a specific episode, or something I could just make sure is a general topic. Or if you just want to go ahead and give me feedback, let me know that you agree or it was something that was insightful, or even if you disagree, I would love to hear your type of opinions on any topics that we talk about. We're now at the end of our episode. If you liked our chat, go ahead and subscribe and favorite this podcast depending on which platform you're using, so you know when the next one is available. If you're using Anchor, you have the option to leave a voice message, so please do. I would love to hear from you. And remember to share with others. Until next time, bye.